All right, Cygax here. I'm going to go over the orb skills here for you guys to see and check them out. Go over them one by one, and I'll show you how some of them work on the dummies and stuff afterwards. First off, we have Star Calling here. Star Calling summons an orb at the designated location after a short interval, dealing 450% base damage plus 133 to enemies within a 3-meter radius. It lasts for 6 seconds, and it consumes 1% of mana per second in its duration. You can have up to 3. We can extend this as well as decrease the upkeep cost and make it the cooldown reduced as we use it. So if we drop the orb here, and you can see that that has an AoE. Decent size AoE. We can drop 3 of them designated by this, and they all have their individual timers. Next up, we have Interstellar Explosion, which this creates a celestial revolution at the designated location that explodes after 1.5 seconds, deals 950% base damage, plus 336 to enemies within a 5-meter radius. Orb effect. The orb within the blast radius collapses and causes an additional explosion, dealing 475 of base damage and 168 to enemies within 3 meters. We can also make it so if you get hit by 3 of these, it can stun, as well as it maintains the explosion and makes it more AoE. So we'll try it with this effect and then without. So that would be Interstellar Explosion, which would be so that's just this one, right? Nothing too special going on with that. Now, where it gets kind of interesting is when you drop orbs in there, remember. So, if we drop an orb in there, and then we explode it, it should give us bigger damage there. So overall, interesting combination with that. And then we will also try the this one, which allows it to maintains an orb explosion area for 3 seconds at the activation area. All right, so drop this. Oh, and then I can drop additional orbs in there and it will explode those as well. What it looked like. Wait, try that again. Yeah, those orbs exploded right away, and I'll do it one more time just for good measure. So we drop this, so we can drop an orb in there still like normal. And then we drop this in there, and then it will maintain the orb explosion area. So any orbs that I drop in there while it's active get exploded. Next up, we have Summon Constellation. Creates and launches 3 orbs at target, each dealing 300% of base damage. This attack is considered an orb effect. After attacking, 3 orbs are summoned at the target's location. Converts an orb within 30 meters of the target into a projectile and launches it, dealing equal damage. Alright, so that is 5. Alright, that's interesting. And this would be a good combo with the one where we created a zone, right, to explode our orbs. Now, we can also, based off of this second part of this one, go back and it converts it. So we drop some orbs here. And they become projectiles. And then we explode them. That's cool. Now, what can we do? We can change it to Milky Way. Moves an orb within a 30 to the designated location. Okay. So this just moves our orb. And it resets the duration. When attacking the same target within 1 second, summon a constellation or Milky Way. Boost damage by up to 12% 5 times. Okay. So if they're within Milky Way or the constellation, we get a damage boost. That's really nice. So what we would do then is we would drop these, teleport them, and then get a rift fracture. When attacking the same target within 1 meters. So here we drop orbs. 2 orbs, different locations. We have 3 now. And they all teleport there. And then we get alright. Oh. We drop 3 orbs. Teleport them. And they boost damage by 12%. Seems good. Resets the duration of the traveling orbs. That's nice. That's nice. Seems like Milky Way is the way to go for this ability. Next, we're gonna have Void Slash. So Void Slash appears to be a very strong skill. Void Slash does smites the designated direction with power of the void, dealing 840% of base damage plus 275 to enemies within a 12-meter long, 6-meter wide area. Seems like a very small area considering we have flash. The orb within the slash area resonates, dealing 420% of base damage plus 138 to enemies within a 3-meter radius. It resets the duration of the resonating orb. So if we hit this, it's a smash. That's nice. And then what else can we do with it? So we can also turn it into a heal. And we can reduce, I believe this allows us to reactivate it. Upon activating an orb effect, reactivates Void Slash 1 time from the farthest orb where the orb effect is activated. Is that for both of them? Yes, that is for both of them. So first we'll try it with the Healing Wave. Healing Wave, that was okay. Next, we try it by dropping an orb first, and then Healing Wave, and that was a much bigger heal. Alright, then let's take away the Healing Wave, and let's use the DPS variant here. Drop the orb. Oh, that was way bigger than it was before. Alright, that seems very good. Now, summon satellites. All orbs within attack range collapse after destruction. Oh, wait, this is supernova collapse. Summon satellite. Applies satellite to party member for 6 seconds. When following skills... The following skills... Summon satellite. Applies satellite to a party member for 6 seconds. The following skills for you and your party members are boosted when a party member with satellite is present. Only 1 satellite may be applied to target. So can we apply this to us? We'll find out. While the effect is active, basic attacks fire an additional projectile from satellite, dealing damage equal to dimensional bomb. Stellar Dash fires an additional projectile from satellite within 30 meters from the location that the caster designated while using Stellar Dash, dealing damage equal to Stellar Dash. Applies Distortion Veil to the party member with a satellite within 30 meters. When the caster uses Distortion Veil, applying healing skill to the party member with satellite boosts shield health by 50%. Seems interesting. So, if we throw it on the enemy... Oh, we threw it on ourselves. And now we have an additional attack on our satellite. Maybe if I attack with the orb. Let's attack with the orb. And then apply satellite. Yeah, that's a lot more auto attack damage right there. That's actually kind of crazy. Now if we, what can we augment it with? Can only be cast on party members with satellite. Grants satellite to all party members. So basically this takes it and allows us to take it and then spread it. Alright, that's nice. And this increases the duration. That's fine. Seems good. Satellite seems solid. Now if we look at Guardian Defensive Wall, this is the ability we saw in the videos. Creates a 5-meter radius Guardian Defensive Wall around the party location, absorbing 40% of the damage taken by the party within the area. The area lasts for 5 seconds. Has a health of 2,000 of base plus 22,500. Effective targets cannot receive new Guardian Defensive Wall or Blood Devotion. So this is going to replace the defensive Blood Devotion. So I don't know how much this is going to be used because defensive Blood Devotion and offensive Blood Devotion are both very, very useful, right? When you're using them in either capacity. Mainly in PvE, you use the offensive one, and PvP, you use both. On summoning Guardian Defensive Wall, each orb within the area is consumed and boosts the Guardian Defensive Wall's health by 12%. So what you would do for this one is I would summon an orb here. I would actually try to summon 3 orbs here and then hit my Guardian Defensive Wall and give us that huge, huge buff. But that's it. Applies stun immunity to parties. That's very good. Increases the health and increases the duration. Just very standard one. Now up here we're looking at Stellar Dash. Stellar Dash fires a 1.5 meter wide projectile to the designated area, dealing 680% of base damage plus 240 to enemies within its path. Attacking the same target 3 or more times allows you to recast skill 1 additional time for 3 seconds. Recasting activates only once. The orb also launches a 1.5 meter wide projectile in the same location with a 30-meter radius. Alright, so this would be you place the orbs around and then you fire this. Damage boost there. Allows you to cast the skill 1 additional time if the target hit 3 more times in a row. Recast. So I wonder if this is in addition to, and this also gives the Pierce effect. Pierce effect, movement speed slow. This seems very, very strong in PvP, reducing damage reduction. So if we use this, just a line attack. But now if we put orbs down, it attacks. And then we can use it again. Alright, that's kind of cool. Now, if we use the additional use right here, we put down orbs. Oh, yeah. Alright, that was nice. That was nice. Got down a bunch of effects there. That's pretty good. Stellar Dash is definitely one of your bread and butter abilities, along with Dark Hauling, for sure. Temporal Leap moves. Okay, so I believe this is the stealth-like skill. Move 6 meters to the designated direction. Hides in another dimension for 3 seconds. He enters stealth and increase cooldown speed of all skills by 3 times. Interesting. If you have really low CDR, this is just going to get you back out, which makes this ability useful in PvE as well. Moves an orb to the designated location, can be used 2 additional times within 3 seconds. Target orbs collapse upon use. Reduce damage taken while active, which is nice. Upon skill use, decrease damage taken by 30% for 0.5 seconds. All right. Seems really good. Really, really good. So, going to stealth there. And then if we were to have a orb, it teleports us to an orb. And it would give us damage reduction during that. Depending on which one we're using. If we're using space, it's during 0.5. If we're using the stealth, it's just while it's active. So I drop this here, and then we teleport to the orb. And just teleport to it. That's nice. It's a pretty good movement skill. I feel like this would be a very hard to master movement skill. Distortion Veil shields an ally with a health shield. Refunds 30% of mana when the shield is depleted and the effect ends. Alright. Grants yourself a shield of 530% base plus 1,812 for 6 seconds. So this is just a way bigger shield. While shield is active, boosts base damage by 15%. So this is a self buff and reduces base damage by 15% for 15 seconds when the shield health is depleted and the effect ends. Interesting. So this is akin to the buff that you use on Wand in order to boost up your damage there. Reduces cooldowns, but then allows you to reuse it. But if you reuse it within 5 seconds, it doubles the mana cost. Refunds mana even when the duration of Distortion Veil ends. Funded mana increases by 40%. Alright. When applied, movement speed is increased by 30%. Effect decreases over 2 seconds, then end. Alright. So this would be just a self-shield mainly. Yeah, nothing too great here. It's just a little bubble. That's a decent amount for my gear score. Gear score is only 5.8 on this character. So if we were to change it to this one, right? This is the DPS variant. We get more damage here. And then we'd be able to just keep spamming this. Yeah, we'd be able to have this 100% uptime, basically. This is overall a pretty solid ability, it's looking like. 100% uptime on a self buff. Pretty good. Next up, we have Star Destroyer. Creates a dimensional orb within 4-meter radius. Sees it rolling forward. Deals 550% of base damage plus 450 to enemies in its path. 80% chance to weaken enemies in its path. Charging time increases attack range. And movement speed reduction by up to 200%. So slows enemies. Seems pretty good. Creates a dimensional orb within a 4-meter radius. Sends it rolling forward. The dimensional orb deals additional damage to enemies in its path, and it has a chance to weaken enemies, reducing their movement speed. Charging time increases attack range and movement speed. Okay. The dimensional orb pulls, each orb has an 80% chance to apply to enemies in its path. Collision pull, pulling them in before colliding. Fully charged, okay. It will drag the enemy. Interesting. Alright, so let's try this. Alright, so then the pull... We'd have to equip the pull for Star Destroyer here. Alright, so then if we're attacking this mob... Alright, and then we do this. I don't know if she can get pulled, though. That's part of the problem. I don't think she can. This is something that would be hard to test, but it looks like it pulls. Next we could use increased width. Oh, okay. I like that. Reduces damage taken while shielded effects. So this is a shield as well. So let's try the shield variant. Oh, that's nice. This is equivalent to like healing pool. Right, so you have a nice healing pool here. And it can reduce damage taken during shielding effect. But it isn't shielding. Oh, while shielded during the effect. So if we shield and then boom. That's pretty good. Alright, moving on to the next skill. Next skill, we have Supercharge Collapse. Supercharge, this skill is really fun. Collapses orbs leave behind a 4-meter radius supercharge supernova collapse for 5 seconds, applying a weaken effect that has an 80% chance of reducing movement speed of enemies in range from 0 to 0.5 seconds. It explodes on expiration, dealing 580 of base damage plus 700. Applies a link effect to orbs within 6 meters. When orb is linked, effect range increases to 5. When 2 orbs is linked, has a chance to apply collision pull. When all enemies within range, it pulls them to center. All right. Then we can also augment this with makes them stun, decreases stamina, increases skill activation range, enhances the effect. All right, we're going to do the generic one first, and then we'll try the other. So I want to have no targets for this. We put these here, and then we do Supercharge Cloud. They link, and then they explode. That's a pretty big area there. That's a super big area there. Now, we wanted to do increase the skill activation range and boost the area linked. Perfect. We can also stun. So this would be just used as a looks like AoE mob cleaning. It seems interesting. It seems like a lot of damage, but I'm not sure. So if we put these 3 here and then we hit this, they link. And then they do damage. Interesting. All right. Next up, we have Restoration Constellation. Grants an ally 5 stacks of Restoration. Restores health by 110% plus of base damage plus 312. Defending a fury attack with defensive skills restores health without consuming a stack. When current health is less than 50%, multiplies health restoration by 2, and when health is less than 25%, health restorations multiplied by 3. Only one restoration effect can be applied to a single target, and health restoration maxes at 1 time per second. When activated, decreases remaining skill cooldowns of all targets with restoration by 2. So this is nice. This is an AoE party skill reduction. Reduces an ally's debuff duration by 25% when active, or reduces an enemy's buff duration by 30%. So we have a support variant, and then we have a this is, I guess, another time that reduce damage taken. So this is a protection variant, and then lastly we have a DPS variant. So this is just it's very plain here. It's just heal over time, right? And we can place this on another player as well. I believe they have to be an ally though. Next, we can use this time dilation. That's just damage reduction, straight damage reduction. And next, we can use the DPS variant. Oh, this cooldown is crazy for this one. This cooldown is crazy for time dilation. This turns into a... Wait, why? Maybe it's the DPS variant that has a crazy... Yeah, this has a 1 minute cooldown. Wow. But this accumulates all damage received to target up to 5 times the caster's max health. When the effect ends, converts 50% of the accumulated damage to damage over time that lasts for 5 seconds. This could be huge with Wand. This can be huge with a lot of other skills. Maybe Expo. Like, getting this right, but with this long cooldown, I don't know actually how good it's going to be. Especially when you're looking at, like, players having 30k health, maybe 40k. So 120,000 damage. I don't know. Minus damage reduction. Like, who knows how much actually this is going to do. It's actually not letting me apply it to an enemy. I wonder if it just can't be applied to certain enemies or something. Or I'm not understanding how the skill works. So that's active. Now this is active, and it just... Trying to just spam and see what I can get off. But that is all of the skills. I don't know what the conditions for proccing this are. I tried to read it. That's why. It's a self buff, I'm pretty sure. Or an allied buff. No? Isn't. I'm not sure how this one works. But that is all the orb skills. We're going to really quickly just go over the main passives in the tree for orb, because I know everyone is going to want to see those. And for those, we go over to weapon skills and then orb. Here we go. So the important ones, we're gonna go tree by tree. This one, when Rift Fracture is active, heavy attacks trigger weaken Rift Fracture instead of critical hits. Actually, let's go over the passives real quick. I leveled up all my passives here, as you can see. So we have Stellar Echo, apply Stellar Echo effect for 6 seconds upon use of 6 active skills. Stellar Echo allows your basic attacks to launch 6 projectiles, each dealing 72% of base damage plus 37. Basic Orb effect, basic attacks have a 20% chance to cause orbs within 30 meters to launch an additional projectile. So having orbs out and then auto attacking with this is really good. Increases critical hit each time orb effect is activated through active skill. Stacks up to 10 times when an enemy you attack is killed within 3 seconds, while Astral Overseer is active, reduces Starcall's cooldown by 72%, activates cooldown reduction effect max 1 time per 6 seconds. Damage a target with next up we have Rift Fracture, damaging a target with an orb or satellite 3 times within 1 second applies to the target. The Rift Fracture deals 121% of base damage if the target with the Rift Fracture receives a critical hit from the active skill. Stellar Cycle, 154 mana restored when an orb collapses due to another skill. If the mana is less than 50%, increase the mana restored. Shield health by 25%, increasing health by 1.4 per 1,000 mana. Attacking an orb with an orb, staff, or wand. Active skills 30% chance. Increase magic damage by 2.4%. for 2.4 seconds. It stacks 5 times. And finally, Constellation Link. Reduces damage taken by 4% when shield or guardian defensive is applied up to 6 times. Last but not least, like I said previously, we have our skills. We'll go up each tree, just focusing on the main ones. When Rift Fracture is active, heavy attacks trigger Rift Fracture instead of critical hits. Damage is amplified by 30 seconds by 30%. When Stellar Echo is activated, increases the number of additional projectiles from 6 to 12. Amplifies orb effects 35%. Reduces shield fail by 30%. And the shield health of Guardian defensive wall by 30%. Using an orb increases critical damage for the next active skill within 6 seconds. Stacks up 3 times. It seems really strong. Rift Fracture is active. Weakened Rift Fracture can be triggered by a party member's attack as well. For strong. Activating Stellar Cycle now increases mana recovery by 0.5% of max mana. Increases mana cost efficiency by 15%, while mana is 33% or less. Stellar Eye. Oh, last but not least up here, when Wisdom and Perception is 70 or above, applies an effect that increases heavy attack damage by 14.3% to the satellite effect. That's going to be really strong. Activating a constellation link now reduces damage taken when shielded by an additional 30%, but reduces 35%. Activating Astral Overseer now increases shield health by 3% instead of increasing critical hit chance. So this is the support tree, remember. After image applies the same defense as roll. So then we have this roll ability that would be our after image. So we get a Q block and then another Q block. When shield effect is applied, restore the shield's target by 55% of base damage, plus 165 using shield. All right. Next, we have Galactic Acceleration. Activates pulsating galaxy to increase attack speed by 10% or 2.4 seconds upon reaching maximum stacks. Eternal Body, activating Eternal Veil now increases healing received by 12.5% and health received by 7.5 instead of increasing health. Shield health further increases by 0.4 per 1000 maximum health. Upon using movement skill, collision, and weaken hit chance by 200 for 3 seconds when precision is 80 or higher. Upon using a movement skill, increases collision, weaken chance. When collision aside. All right. And that's about it. And that's what we have for Orb. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys.